It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
Good Tuesday morning, September the 24th. Glad to be with you for the next few hours. Let's get right to business. Here's your top 5 at 6. And then there was one. Kmart announced its last full-size store in the U.S. is closing next month.
What?
There will be a mini Kmart in Miami. That'll be the only one left in the lower 48. There's a handful still in the U.S. Virgin Islands and, wait for it, Guam.
It's a drive-through.
If you're missing those good old days at Kmart, get a flight out to the Pacific. Guam is waiting for you.
Blue light special on KY jelly. That's the last time I was in Kmart.
There it is.
They had a blue light special on KY jelly.
That stuff's expensive.
Not if you shoplift it.
Good on you.
No, I do remember that. I was standing in Kmart and they just belted that out. And I thought, I'm going to miss those blue light
It's funny you
specials.
say not if you shoplifted. I was given shoplifting lessons by my older brother at a Kmart as a child. That's where he taught me how to get away with all sorts of stuff.
They didn't care long before everyone else didn't care about shoplifting.
Yeah, it was the 70s.
Whatever.
It was okay.
Yeah.
On the way to the beach, suntan lotion? Let me show you how this works. Well, wow, cool, thanks. Kmart opened in Garden City, Michigan in 1962, and a huge part of my childhood and yours and anybody else that was growing up, 70s and 80s, Kmart were everywhere.
Yeah, that's what we had out in Huron, South Dakota, the big metropolis nearby Woolsey. We had a Kmart. I want to say it was even in the mall. Maybe it was in the mall parking lot. So, yeah, we didn't have Target or any of that fancy stuff.
I was about to go, thanks, Amazon, but they went bankrupt the first time in 2002. So it's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
Number 4 on your top 5 at 9. If you're into CrossFit, every now and again you get these CrossFit stories where you hear about people having real problems, kidney damage and stuff. I remember a series of people saying, hey, my kidney shut down. And I thought, that's just some weird viral hoax. No, it's not. A 25-year-old woman in South Carolina worked out doing a CrossFit challenge so hard that her arms all basically, the word is exploded. She got into a challenge. She's already in really good shape. You run a mile, you do 300 squats, 200 push-ups, and then 100 pull-ups, and then run another mile.
Easy.
Okay. She went really hard, and then her biceps essentially exploded. They were so sore and swollen the next day, she couldn't straighten her arms out. She had to keep them folded. She went to the ER. She had something called rhabdomyolysis.
Oh.
It's when muscle fibers are damaged, the cells die, and releases toxins into your blood, and yes, kidney damage, liver damage, and can kill you. Big problem with the old. Well, it's not rare as you would hope for CrossFit. People get into those CrossFit challenges, they go crazy and they overdo it, and then this happens.
You got to ease in. For example, ski season out in front of us, quickly approaching. I thought it's time to start getting in shape for ski season, so I do wall sits. You just sit against the wall, get the old legs burning, and I drank a beer. And then, say, by the end of the week, I want to be up to 2 beers. And then by the time ski season hits, a 6-pack gets the job done.
Oh, boy.
Are you shotgunning these beers, or you're seriously sitting there drinking a whole pint or whatever?
I didn't do any of what I just said. Just made all that up.
He's joshing you.
I was joshing.
If you could see the look on my face, I was in awe. I was like, oh, my God, you're a superhero. And it was all for naught.
No.
Number 3 on your top 5 at 6, a Minnesotan, a gentleman who is a drug policy lobbyist, Curtis Hanna, was digging through some old tapes from President Richard Nixon. Remember Richard Milhouse Nixon?
Nope.
Remember Tricky Dick?
No, I was 2.
Richard Nixon launched the war on drugs himself in 1971. He said America's public enemy number 1 is drug abuse. He also...
I can see no social or moral justification whatever for legalizing marijuana.
That's right. Well, they still have it here in Minnesota.
No justification for legalizing marijuana, but that's not all he said about marijuana.
Yeah.
He also said it's not addictive. It's not a big deal. I don't know much about marijuana, but I know it's not a big deal. It's no worse than a martini.
Who found this?
A gentleman named Curtis Hanna, drug policy lobbyist from right here in Minnesota.
Yeah, go out and get laid, buddy. What you doing? Digging up old Nixon tapes? What the hell? Who cares?
This is making. I have to rethink everything I know about Nixon because apparently he lied about this, and I'm just not sure if that checks off with what I previously thought. Oh wait, no. Oh no, that's right. We're talking about Tricky Dick. Of course,
I'm not a crook.
Of course, he knew marijuana wasn't addictive, and of course, he launched the war on drugs based on marijuana.
Yeah.
These things happen. If Richard Nixon's bugging you and you find yourself getting stressed 50 years after the fact, maybe you need to listen right now. Number 2 on your top 5 at 6. The American Medical Association just released the results of a new survey. They found the secret to a better life is knocking it out 4 times a week, pleasuring one's self. People who get it on with themselves are less likely to get sick. They have better confidence about their bodies. They're more likely to be employed, and they're more likely to climax when they actually have sex with another person.
Well, hot damn. This is great news. Unlike that little fib I told earlier about drinking a beer while doing a wall sit, I do drink a beer while I fondle myself.
17% of people say they fantasize about someone they actually know. 11% about a person they met once. 10% about a celebrity and 9% about a fictional character. Now, this is where the line gets weird for me.
Yeah.
Because am I fantasizing about Marie McCormick or Marsha Brady? Which is it? I'm not sure.
Well, you can mix up the days.
That's true.
I'll make it just a little more weird for you. That first one was about people you know. Mm-hmm. All 3 of you.
Thank you.
At once?
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, man.
This morning.
I feel 10 feet tall now.
Earlier. That reminds me, I got to wash my hands.
That's fantastic. Well, listen, if you're gonna do that, maybe think about it next time you're driving to Princeton, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Good morning, Princeton, Minnesota.
Well, yeah, good old Princeton, home of the Dirty Rotten Biker Fest and all sorts of good things. I'll tell you what, a damn fine golf course. Not too crowded. You can maybe walk on a Sunday every once in a while.
That's a way to please yourself.
Yeah, that is.
It's a little different than the American Medical Association
Until I start swinging the club.
Well, we're glad to have you with us, Princeton. Number 1 on your top 5 at 6, Schwann's. Or now, as it's known, Yellow with an H on the end. The frozen food home delivery service for decades known as Schwann's is ending its operations.
Yeah.
They announced yesterday permanently parking its iconic yellow delivery vehicles. Help me out here. New guy in town. I missed the whole Schwann's ride.
End of an era. Grew up in East River, South Dakota. You know, in other words, Minnesota extended. We're like the white trash of Minnesota. We're that neighborhood way out there, South Dakota, East River. And the Schwann's truck would come out. That was in the city. You guys had your ice cream truck out there. Schwann's was our ice cream truck. And it was the only time Dad would say, you know, Mom would go to town for groceries and Dad would be like, just get gruel. Just gruel and bacon. That's all you can buy. But when the Schwann's truck came, he'd relax. You know, we'd get some ice cream, some frozen pizzas. They delivered all those goodies. And then they... I don't know, I had some problems with E. coli or something and egg yolks and then changed their name to Yellow and I don't know what happened. So I didn't even know they were still going.
That's how my dad answered the phone. Yellow.
It
was he had an H issue. A lot of dropping of a lot of H's and filling in other letters there.
A Minnesota institution, especially for a lot of the rural families, I think.
Well done, Schwann. You know, you had a nice long run there, and 72-year-old frozen food operation, by the way, founded in Marshall, Minnesota. 72 years.
Hey.
Wow. That is that. There's your top 5 at 6. Let me ask you a question. In between working out and blowing up our biceps, how far would you go to get rid of your cat? Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. I like that song, Livin', Lovin', Made. It works for me every time. But then again, I'm not in Led Zeppelin. And they didn't. That's why they never played it live.
They never played that song live?
No time. They do Heartbreaker all the time. Livin', Lovin', Made, nah.
I wonder what the issue was.
I'm not really sure. My former band, the Black Crowes, we were touring with Jimmy Page. We were rehearsing. We were playing Heartbreaker. And then one day we ended Heartbreaker on the downbeat and we just fell into that song, the band. And he just looked at us like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
He literally was like, "Oh, don't do that
Don't do
one." I was like, "Come on, man! It's Live and Love and Maid. What's the problem?"
I'd love to know what the story is there. Something to do with a woman, I'm sure.
I could have been. I'm not really sure myself. Today on the show at 8:30 this morning, Scorpions. Klaus, Meine, and Matthias Jabs calling in ahead of their 60th anniversary tour next year. I'm looking very forward to talking to two members of the Scorpions. And then in about 30 minutes from right now, of course, as it's Tuesday, we've got some UnFun Facts for you.
Oh, that's right. I love UnFun Facts.
Plenty to look forward to. We might even give away some concert tickets later in the show. Who knows? For right now, though, I'm a cat owner. I've had cats since 1991. I got my first cat. Or I should say I moved in with a woman who then we got a kitten because I was trying to be a nice guy. And I've had cats ever since. And I like my cats. I don't like yours. I don't care about cats unless they're mine. And then I decide I like them. But, I'm a dog guy. That's what I am. When a cat moves on to the next realm, I think, oh, man, that's sad. I really enjoyed that cat's presence. And then I kind of get on with my life.
Quickly.
Yeah, but with dogs, sure. But I'm just saying, and by the way, I'm not slamming cat people. I totally get it, but I'm just more of a dog guy. I think about dogs more than cats. There's a couple in California, Benny and Suzanne, and they've got a few cats, and they decided to take a road trip. They were going to go to Yellowstone National Park, and they brought their cat with them. Now, I know enough to know that if you bring a cat to a national park, you're hoping to never see it again.
Right, exactly. If a bear attacks, throw the cat at it.
Yeah, I mean, a bear, a hawk, a wolf,
Anything.
There's all sorts of things in Yellowstone.
Lions, lynx, bobcats.
Another human. Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of things. Anyway, this couple took a road trip to Yellowstone. They brought their cat, Rainbow. And they were out hiking, and they were out camping, and they were in the woods, and something startled the cat, and it disappeared, and they lost him.
So they took their cat hiking out for a walk. Okay.
Out in the woods.
I can see if you're in the RV, you can't find a cat sitter, bring Rainbow along, but you took Rainbow out into the park. Okay.
It's crazy. Now, they were, the truth be told, they weren't trying to lose the cat. They are just people who didn't realize that'd be a great place to lose a cat. They ended up spending the rest of their trip looking for Rainbow. Rainbow never appeared. They had to go back home. They drove all the way back to Salinas, California from Yellowstone. It's about 1,000 miles.
Yeah.
And they went home and they were devastated. And then 2 months later, they got a message because somebody had found Rainbow. He's microchipped. They found him in Roseville, California. The cat had traveled 800 miles from Yellowstone. Now they live in Salinas. The cat was still 200 miles away from them, so it's not like some genius cat.
Yeah.
I mean, he's trying to get home, but he was still 200 miles short. But still,
it did go in the right direction. Like, it could have gone any number of ways.
He went west, but he still needed to turn and go south at some point. I'm not giving Rainbow all the credit. I'm sorry. But they got a phone call. They said, hey, we found your cat 800 miles later.
Goody. We wanted a new kitten. That's the nice thing about a cat going. You get a kitty out.
He was really depleted. He probably didn't have a lot of energy to maybe even go further. So this lady who found him and rescued him, she's just an angel because she even said that he looked like he was not going to make it much longer.
Well, Rainbow lives on.
For what it's worth, Rainbow is two words, R-A-Y-N-E, and then the second word, B-E-A-U.
That doesn't make me hate the cat. It makes me hate the cat owners.
No, I think the person who found that cat should have kept that cat for his own safety.
You know, cats have a lot of attitude. I've never owned a cat either. I've cohabitated with cats, but I do get along with them because I'm sort of a cat in that way. And here's what I will tell you, that if you've left for a while, you've left the cat for a few days, you come home, it's going to just piss everywhere. It's just going to be upset with you. It's just going to take a crap right there in front of you in the middle of the carpet.
Really?
This cat's, they're just...
That's your experience?
They're awful creatures.
Sure you had, it was a cat?
No, I'm not. When I say cat, I'm talking about a woman.
Oh, sorry.
What were are we talking about an actual cat someone lost in Yellowstone?
We're talking about feline.
Oh,
yes.
I'm sorry.
I wasn't sure if you were taling about a woman or a raccoon right there. I wasn't sure which way that one was going. This is a perfect time to learn a little something. Let's look back. Oh, yeah, baby. On this day in 1972, the New York Jets went down to Baltimore to play the Colts. Johnny Unitas threw for 376 yards and 2 touchdowns. Nice day. But Joe Namath for the Jets 496 yards, and 6 touchdowns.
500 yards passing.
Now, remember, in 1972, it was still legal to kill a quarterback.
Yeah, right. And you had to throw with both hands.
Yes, so that was
and to throw underhand.
Yeah,
it was a hell of a day for both gentlemen. I mean, that we talk about now the offense is kind of out of control for years. Back when they used to really play defense, one guy threw for 376, one guy threw for 496. Hell of a day.
I guess.
On this day in 1994, the Colorado Buffaloes had one of the great college football highlights in the world. Cordell Stewart threw a last-second 60-yard bomb to Mike Westbrook in Ann Arbor to defeat Michigan. It was a Keith Jackson classic. It was one of those. Yes. They show the highlight every year. It's an all-timer. I remember this game for 2 reasons. One, I grew up a Michigan fan, so I was curious, and it was It was kind of crushing to see. But here's the deal. I was in Los Angeles on this day in 1994. I woke up in time to see the final 2 minutes of the game, which in L.A. was like 4 p.m. I don't know what happened the night before, but all I know is I woke up, there was a room service cart in the room untouched.
Oh, that old routine.
No recollection of ordering a giant breakfast at some point, but apparently I had, because there it was. Someone just rolled in and left it there. I was sitting in bed, beyond disheveled, trying to make sense of the food. I put on the TV just in time to see that play. I turned it right off and went back to sleep. The salad days. Man, wasn't it great when you could just wake up at 4 and go right back to bed and go, it's the sun's still out. I got to get some shut-eye.
It's happened on more than one occasion. I've woken up, especially in hotels, and opened the door to leave my room and saw a pizza box sitting right there in front of my door.
Oh, yeah.
With one cold, kind of nasty-ass looking pizza in it.
Yeah,
did I order a pizza?
Happens all the time. On this day 5 years ago in 2019, my book came out. Hard to Handle, The Life and Death of the Black Crows. Go pick it up if you haven't read it. It's a laugh riot.
Is it available on Amazon?
It is. Okay. It's available everywhere.
Audiobook?
Audiobook, yours truly.
A fine read.
5 years in existence. Now, I do see myself now as an author.
Well, you should.
I wear jackets with patches on the elbows.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's wearing an ascot right now.
I am.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. You're listening to the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zepp, Tony, and Ryder on 92 KQRS.
Good Tuesday morning. That's a good Tuesday morning to everybody, but especially our listeners in Blaine.
Yeah, Blaine.
Come on, Blaine. Give me some.
Anybody allowed to play that TPC course up there that the PGAers like to come out? I've walked around it. I went out to a PGA event a couple of years ago and scooted around. Hell of a golf course up there, but I don't know if we're allowed to get on and play it or not. You have to have a lot of dough.
I don't know. You probably
TPC?
just got to know somebody. That's generally how that sort of thing goes.
Well, they let me go over to the Blaine Sports Center there for the big buck run-off. What is it? The big deer thing that they have up there every year. You ever go over to that?
What happens?
Sorry, that's news to me.
Oh, they just have a big deer convention. About 1,000 people bring in their deer racks, and they measure them up there for the points on the old Boone and Crockett system and that whole thing. Yeah.
Wow, I've always thought a deer rack was a whole different meaning.
Right.
But I guess we're talking about actual deer.
Full of racks.
Boy, check this story out. This is from Pontypridd in Wales. If you ever look at a map of Wales, you'll notice most of the towns in that country are like Pontypridd. They're just a bunch of. They don't have a lot of vowels.
Gobbledygook.
A lot of consonants crammed up together. At Pontypridd in Wales, a bizarre story. A gentleman was found in his apartment. Nobody had heard from him for a week, and he was found dead. Police came in. They were like, something's going on with this guy. He's fully clothed. A little bit of blood on his stomach, which seemed to be kind of swollen, but he was laying there dead. They didn't do a whole lot of investigations at first. Apparently, the Welsh police are much like other Welsh people. They must have been drunk at the time. They missed a lot of pretty obvious signs that there had been an injury, a stabbing. He was stabbed in his stomach and died as a result of the wound.
That would explain the blood on the stomach area.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Finally went back. Long story short, after weeks of inquests and figuring out what happened, my man stabbed himself. He stabbed himself to death accidentally. What was he doing? What was he doing? They figured out the wound to his abdomen was right at the same, if he were standing, because they found him laying on the floor. Standing, it was just above the counter level of his kitchen counter. Like he was standing there. They did see a bunch of burger patties that by the time his body was found had thawed, but they had been frozen. The knife, they deduced he was trying to separate frozen burger patties with a knife.
Yeah, I'm not.
And apparently
It slipped.
something slipped and he stabbed himself and died from his injuries.
We've all been there. And that's why I chuckled. I remember the last time I had that big pack of burger. We were talking about Schwann's, now Yellow, going out of business here in Minnesota after 70-some years, and they would come by, and you get your frozen box of burgers out of there. I remember taking a hammer to it. Thank goodness I didn't have anything more than a butter knife, but I would take a hammer and just smack those things till they came apart.
1 minute you're looking forward to grilling up a frozen burger, and the next you're dead because your knife slipped and you couldn't get those patties separated.
He's got to be laying there on the floor thinking, really? This is how I'm going? I couldn't just kill myself by eating too many burgers?
57 years old, neighbors said he always kept to himself, very quiet guy. He's like, really, I should have had more friends. I shouldn't have set my phone down when I walked in. Anything, just laying there. What an awful way to go.
Or he should have looked up the word thaw.
There is that. Just a little bit of time.
I had a buddy trying to open up one of those impossible plastic wrap things. I forget. It was some sort of hardware tool or something like that where they just make the plastic. It's almost impenetrable. You can't rip it open with your hands. They just don't want anyone to ever open that. And he stabbed himself in the thigh. Cutting it open with a knife. Gets out a big hunting. Gets out the old buck knife, and he's pulling on it right towards him. And I hear him come running out of the house, and he stuck himself in the thigh, which bled like a
I bet it did.
Stuck thigh.
I tell you what, right now, there's nothing fun about stabbing yourself. And say, hey, that reminds me, we do have a few more unfun facts. I got some unfun facts for you. As most people know, there are corpses littering Mount Everest. A couple hundred of them over the years. They are now used as waypoints. They are utilized by climbers. Well, when you see the French lady, when you see the guy in the green jacket, because nobody can remove those corpses. And it's like the meme says, remember, every one of those dead people on Mount Everest used to be the most highly motivated person their friends ever met.
That's right.
Oh, wow.
Take a chill pill, okay? You don't need to get everything done today. Parrots, the birds' parrots, often bond with their keepers. And from the parrot's perspective, that person becomes their lifelong romantic partner.
Oh, stage 5 clinger.
If the parrot keeper or owner, if you prefer, dies, or the parrot is displaced, they often go into massive depression and they will pluck out their own feathers.
What if, so you've got the parrot, it's just you and the parrot living a lonely life, and the most impossible of all things happen, you meet a human being and fall in love.
Man, crazy.
Wait, is there jealousy there?
I would imagine,
pluck out her feathers?
Oh, I would imagine so. I mean, they're just plucking their feathers out. They're just doing all they can to get in your way.
Yeah, not a big fan of parrots.
No, I got no time for a bird that can mimic me.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Every time you walk into a bathroom, public or otherwise, and it's nasty, you are most likely inhaling tiny bits of poo.
Well, that's why I go in there.
A group of researchers from Yangzhou University in China reported flushing public restroom toilets releases clouds of virus-laden aerosols for you to then inhale. Virus-laden aerosols, meaning poo cloud.
In China? Maybe that's why they just go into holes in the floor.
Could be.
Maybe that's a step up.
Could be.
Evolution. I don't know.
If you suffer from nosebleeds on a regular basis, some people just do. My daughter had a brief spell for a few years where suddenly she would get a lot of nosebleeds. And then it went away, and, we don't know what happened. I mean, I'm sure we asked the doctor, and he went, well, it's fine. These things happen.
Yeah.
She thankfully never experienced the fact that a lot of people with nosebleeds find blood coming out of their eye sockets. The nose and your eyes are connected. Yeah. Blood from a nosebleed can travel to your tear ducts and start to drain from there.
All right. Well, it makes sense. When I blow my nose, I tear up. You guys do that?
Yeah, I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
No bleeding out the eyeball, though. Eek.
Not yet.
Well, I've got that to look forward to. I'll be bleeding out of everything eventually.
If you have an intestinal blockage, you can actually burp up farts. Now, when I was a kid, this would have sounded like a challenge. You know, like, can you burp a fart?
Oh, man.
No, it's called feculent vomiting. You basically just throw up your own poop.
Is that where morning breath comes from?
Boy, I tell you what, that might very well be more. Oh, gosh, don't even get me started. Finally, Mary Shelley making her second UnFun Fact appearance in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Mary Shelley, author of Frankenstein. What did we say? Last week, I believe she kept her husband's heart. After he was cremated, but the heart didn't burn, so she kept it in a cabinet.
Romantic.
Mary Shelley, long before that happened, lost her virginity on her mother's gravesite.
Oh.
Ick.
Oh, Mary. I mean, you're kooky. I kind of want to hang with her, but not really, you know?
Yeah.
It's okay on your mom's gravesite, not, yeah. Ooh,
I have a
weird.
feeling that Mary there was an energy around Mary Shelley. She put out some vibes, and for the people that were attracted to that, it was pretty great. But then, there was just a moment when they realized, like, oh, I've just crossed the line with this woman. It's getting bad.
Well, I mean, it's in the book. I mean, you read the book. It's not like she wrote, romantic novels.
I imagine that gentleman, before he died and was cremated and his heart would not burn, I imagine there were a few things along the way he was like, if I could just change a little bit about Mary Shelley. If there was just a couple little adjustments, man, this would be a whole different shebang. But that means that he was probably much like most of us. I mean, there's moments where you think to yourself, what would I change if I could about my partner? Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I was a drifter, and I did walk alone. David Coverdale and I, we share that in common. Actually, when David Coverdale was writing that song, the first lyric he wrote was "like a hobo." That's a true story. It was like a hobo. And his producer was like, that's more like a 1930s term. What about drifter? Yeah, there you go. That's the magic. But he literally wrote like a hobo. I always loved that story.
Picture a guy with a can of beans.
Right.
Exactly.
Mac the knife.
The stick and the bandana pouch over the shoulder, I was a hobo, walking the rails of the western United States, and I saw a woman on the hood of a Jaguar. I love David Coverdale. I just told Zepp, I had a dinner with him one time, and I walked into it thinking, I'm like, you can get there. It was a Jimmy Page event, and Rosemary and I were invited, and we sit down, and it says, and you see David Coverdale and his wife Cindy, and we were going to sit with them at this dinner, and I remember thinking, like, oh, Coverdale, he's going to be so pompous and full of himself. And he's just like, and he was everything but that. He was the most outgoing, wonderfully hospitable, gregarious, great storyteller, really bright, well-read, hilariously funny. Wow. Everything about him was just like my favorite hang ever.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I just did not see this coming at all.
Just picture a guy who carries a portable fan. To blow on him, keep his hair billowing.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you realize, no, he just knew what the people wanted. He was just doing what he did. But we had the best time with him ever. I mean, just awesome. And in fact, he was so cool. I was doing a sports talk show at the time, Steve Gorman Sports. And that show was syndicated sports talk. And I told him, he was asking me, what do you do these days in between blah, blah, blah. And he said, I know nothing about sports. And I said, well, perfect. Do you want to be on the show sometime? And we set it up where he called in and he was my NBA playoffs insider. And I sent him a script and he read it as if he was a real NBA analyst.
Well, that's great.
And like,
in the King's English.
Literally, he's like, well, Steven, you have to understand, LeBron James is far more than just a physical specimen. His IQ on the court. And he had no idea what he was talking about, but he delivered it. And the people at like Fox Sports were like, David Coverdale likes the NBA? I'm like, oh yeah, he's obsessed with it, man.
Didn't
It's great.
see that coming.
Anyway, any chance I get to just talk about what an awesome dude Coverdale is, I will take full advantage of that. Hey, what would you change about your partner if you could? What? You don't have to say it out loud. You'll probably get in trouble. If you do want to share something with us, you can text us 651-989-ROCK, or you can even hit it up on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
What would you change about your partner? 1,500 married couples were asked what they would change. The women all said that number one on the list, they would make their man less grumpy.
No. Well,
come on.
That's garbage.
I mean, I feel like you could probably do something about that.
Well, it's funny because what's the number one thing men say they would change? They'd make their wife more affectionate.
Well, okay.
You want to get rid of the grump? Look, there's occasional shoulder rub.
There's a simple equation here.
Come on.
Yes, I know.
Let's talk about chicks, man.
Chicks, man.
Number 2, what women would change about their men, they'd make him listen more when they talk. Yeah. To which I say, wait, say that again? What?
I mean,
it's just what it is.
Here, try this. Have something to say.
Ooh.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I'm sorry, honey. I didn't mean that. I was just kidding around. Just trying to make you laugh. I'm sorry.
And so you were.
All good.
Hold on a second. So you were at the. So hold on. You were at the store, and then you couldn't find the beans, and then what happened? And then you did.
I mean, and
then you did find them. Cool.
I think women are just, generally chattier. They have a lot more to talk about than guys. Yeah, we just don't. We're not good communicators.
I get on the grump. I will admit to that. I do tune things out. I tune everybody out. How many times around here do I go, wait, say that again? I just have filters up that I'm unaware of, and I would love to get rid of. But the one thing I do have going for me, number 5, women say they would like their man to help more around the house. That's not a problem with me. I'm great with the laundry, the dishes. Whatever the chores are, the household stuff, I'm not a self-starter, but if I'm told, hey, you need to do this, I just hop up and get after it. I'm good with all that stuff. I'm a catch, gals. Too bad I'm taken.
Is she happy with the way that you do all those tasks and chores?
For the most part, yeah. No, right. I mean, it's because the answer is, well, do you want to do it or do you want me to let me do it? And she's like, yeah, go for it.
Tell me, you seem helpful around the house.
But I do everything incorrectly. I'm more than willing to do it, but I'm criticized for the technique.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. The first time I folded stuff and then had it unfolded and refolded right.
Oh boy,
that was I'm out. Yeah. It just doesn't matter. First of all, I'm not a folder. I don't think things need to be folded. They need to be laid out. I don't leave it crumpled in a ball. But like, for instance, all my T-shirts lay on the floor in the shape of a T-shirt. And then next to that, my flannels lay on the floor in the shape of a flannel shirt.
Very nice.
Very nice. Folding. What do I look like?
Waste of time. Yeah. I agree with you. Waste of time. Very much. I just shove them in a little cubby. And the T-shirts all go with the T-shirts and the pants all go with the pants, but they're just shoved in there.
No, I bet you're the kind of guy, Steve, that folds your underwear.
Oh, you're damn straight I do.
Your underwear?
Yeah, hell yeah. No. I fold every. I'm a champion folder. I come by it naturally. I was the 8th kid, the 6th boy. By the time I was, the last kid still at the house, not in school yet, my mom was exhausted, and she just one day looked at me and she's like, "Let me show you how you fold clothes." That's what. And I'm like, "Oh, anything to be like a big kid." Yeah. And next thing you know, I'm rocking it. By the time I was in 6th or 7th grade, I was doing my own laundry.
Good man.
Because she was like, it's just if I teach you how to do this, you don't have to wait if you want your favorite shirt. I'm like, it didn't occur to me, I don't have a favorite shirt. I'm 12. But I was like, okay, I'll do it. And then I had but we always had the chores. We always were responsible. We traded weeks. You did the after dinner dishes. You would do it Sunday through Saturday. I mean, for a week at a time. So... and then you never had a messy room. My God, my bedroom as a kid, if there was one piece of clothing on the floor, it was trouble. My dad ran that place like that. We called our house the barracks for a reason. Yeah. But all that stuff, I'm glad now because I do keep a very tidy home. And anyway, back to the laundry, folding. Oh yeah, I will load a basket. I'll plop right down, put on some music, and then just take my time getting the perfect fold.
As an ex-Pants Plus employee, I'm a master folder as well. But do you remember those infomercials they had when you wanted to fold? It was like a piece of cardboard that would fold over, and you put the shirt on top of it, and it would bend into the shape of a folding shirt.
You'd have to kind of and then all the needles would have to come out of the collar.
Yeah. Do you ever know anyone who actually had one of those?
No.
Those disturbing.
I will go down. There's a whole rabbit hole you can go down of people showing you how to expertly fold T-shirts and stuff.
Well, they have competitions.
Yeah, and I will watch. Not only that, I will watch grocery bagging competitions.
Oh my gosh!
I'm a real stickler for bagging the groceries. I prefer to do it myself. When given the option, I'll do that. Thank you, because I'm better than you, kid.
Yeah.
Eggs not on the bottom.
David Letterman would do that. He was a bagger, and every once in a while he'd have a kid on, and they'd have a little bagging competition going on there.
Fantastic.
Too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think so. What it comes down to is, like I said, I'm kind of the perfect spouse because I'm good with folding laundry. The men also, number 3, they said they want women to be more affectionate. They want women to be happier in general. Well, guys, part of that is on you. 3rd, they want her to be more adventurous in bed. Okay, well, that's you got plenty of time to talk about that early on in the relationship. I don't know what you're expecting.
I don't know.
Past is prelude.
Yeah, I don't know. A little role play, perhaps. Try a different position. Get the Kama Sutra out. Turn it to page, 112. What's on that page? Go for it.
I'm just saying early days, you got to have those conversations.
Yeah, well, early days, but you do everything. I mean, it's every position, every place, everywhere, all the time. You don't need to be coaxed. Okay, I'll do that. Hey, you want to go out and do it in the neighbor's yard? Yep, I do. Yep. It's, you get a little older. You've got to, guys always say that too. If you just be a little more adventurous in bed, you want to try this? Well, I mean, I just ate.
Yeah. Well, there is that.
Well, the game's starting.
Sure.
Well, you come up with a few excuses. More adventurous in bed. It sounds good on paper, I guess. Depends how adventurous she wants to get. What if she wants to peg you?
There's nothing like that, penis breath.
Is that are you talking about a Steely Dan song?
I'll Google it for you later.
Okay. One thing, there's none of the women on the poll, there's nothing on the women's side about anything in bed. They seem to be, they're not saying, I wish he was more adventurous. I wish he was, put it this way, there's not a single person in this poll anyway who said, I wish my husband had a larger penis. But there are plenty of guys that wish they did. And a lot of people in Thailand, in a city called Samut Sakhon, have been going for penis enlargement procedures. Okay. There is a doctor named Kittikorn Songri. He's 36 years old, and he has been performing penis enlargement procedures for almost 20 years.
Well, he knows what he's doing.
Well, the problem is
his way around a penis.
I told you, did I mention he's 36 and he's been doing it for 20 years?
Well, all right, I'm not very good at math, but that sounds like he was a teenager.
He's been advertising his services via social media. He has had 2 or 3 patients every month. He has no medical license because he's had no medical training.
This isn't one of those pump things that I see on the websites, is it?
I don't know the specifics of what he's doing, but he has been performing penis enlargement procedures with silicone implants for almost 20 years. Again, no medical training, no license, taught himself what he told police after a recent arrest. I taught myself to do this when I was 14 years old.
A little trial and error.
Teach himself on, like the neighborhood cats, or
I
what?
really do not know. He had a client who received a serious infection. There was a silicone infection in the implant, who then did a little bit of research and realized, I just had a guy who's not a doctor operate on, Big Jim here, and now Bigger Jim is infected, and we got a problem. So police investigated. A self-taught doctor has been practicing a very delicate procedure for 20 years, and for the first time, someone turned him in. Which is a testament to his skill set, because he's obviously done something right if nobody else has complained until now.
Well, to go 20 years without a penis complaint, I think that's pretty good.
Well, either that or a lot of guys just didn't feel like going in and saying, hey, man, this guy in this basement over here in the a house on the wrong side of the tracks gave me a bad penis enlargement. I mean, you just kind of cut your losses and live with it.
That is true.
Silicone. I'm trying to think how we make the penis larger with silicone. I don't know. It just makes it lumpier.
I refuse to find out. I don't want to know. I'm still walking around with the penis I was born with, so that's all I can tell you. I'm just going with what God gave me.
Well, you weren't born with a micro penis, or what's called a buried penis. Buried penis refers to a penis hidden under the skin from your stomach, thighs, or scrotum.
Well, it's shy.
Yeah.
I thought when you said buried penis, my first thought was literally you're hung like a draft horse because you're like Barry Gibb that way. That's what I thought. So I had that completely backwards. No, I like, to your point, Zepp. Yeah, it's going to be a tough thing to say, man, I think I got a problem. I got a bad penis implant. When someone says, where did you get it done? And to your point, it was this guy in the basement. And then he was wearing a tank top. I should have known. No. I'm just picturing I mean, it's bad enough. Like last year, like Wilmington, Delaware, a man was performing dental procedures in his basement. Okay, that's bad enough. That's the average. That's a pulling a tooth or a root canal. This is a penile implant in a basement in Thailand from a guy wearing, again, a tank top. The bad news. Make no mistake about it.
DIY. I'll have to YouTube that later.
I felt good when I taught myself how to make a fire. You know what I mean? Like that was like, oh my God, I looked at the video and I felt great. This is what I've learned on YouTube, how to make a fire when you don't really have any, like a good, honest to God, like just all I got's wood and a match and it's a little tough and you can do this sort of stuff. You could dig a hole and dig another hole and you get the air flowing. I mean, it's fascinating stuff. Yeah. I also learned how to replace the battery in my car key fob.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's it. Yeah. That's what I've learned on YouTube.
That's how to make a good scrambled egg.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen the one with the chopsticks where they swirl it? Like
yes, I have. Makes a little mountain.
I want to try it, but I'm afraid it'll be so bad it'll make me feel bad. But again, no penile implants. I've yet to go down that rabbit hole for teaching myself how to do things.
You're still a young man.
I do have time. And I could learn from this guy's mistakes, I'm sure. First things first, I'd put on a smock, a white apron and nothing else.
Right, exactly. For some reason, just welder helmet. I don't know. I think that would just be a nice touch.
You got a penile implant from a guy wearing a Washington Wizards jersey? That was weird. I don't know. He's a Jordan fan. He loved those Wizard years. I don't know. It's kind of strange. Whole thing's kind of weird. At 8:30 on the KQ Morning Show today, we will have Klaus, Meine, and Matthias Jabs from Scorpions phoning in. I'm looking very forward to that. Hey, are you a hockey fan? If so, you might want to hang around with us. We might have some tickets. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zepp, Tony, and Ryder on Minnesota's classic rock. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good Tuesday morning. Hey, let's talk hockey. Let's talk the Minnesota Wild versus the Dallas Stars Sunday at the XL Energy Center. As in this Sunday, preseason is already here.
The hated Stars.
Goodness. Oh, the Stars.
Oh, my God. Screw the Stars. Stars suck.
Preseason hockey this Sunday. Want to go? We got tickets. Why don't you play a game to see if you can win them? We need 2 callers. Callers 9 and 2 at 651-989-ROCK. 651-989-ROCK, the KQ Talk text line. We will take 2 callers to play a game to try to win tickets to the Minnesota Wild versus the Dallas Suck Stars this Sunday at the XL Energy Center. There you have it. Light them up. Let's do it. In the meantime, while we wait for those callers, Spring Lake Park. Let's discuss. Good morning, Spring Lake Park.
Yeah, I was just checking out the demographics in Spring Lake Park. Median age, 41. But here's a fun fact about Spring Lake Park.
Please.
Almost 13% of households in Spring Lake Park, 13% had a female householder with no husband present. So if you're looking for a starter family, if you're looking to get a family started on the quick, Spring Lake Park, you might just want to start trolling around.
Man.
As of 2020.
That's a capital PRO tip right there, my man. Very, very, very well delivered. Speaking of well delivered, if you haven't bought your tickets to KQ Up North yet, this would be a great time to do that. KQ Up North, what's that, you say, Steve? Oh, I'll tell you. We're going up to Cragen's Resort on Gull Lake, along with Hoffman Weber Construction, October 3rd through the 6th. We're going to broadcast this very show, the KQ Morning Show, from up there. We're going to have a karaoke party. There's going to be a dinner cruise, live music, and a whole lot more. It's going to just be a fun 3 days with us. Come up, book your stay right now, 92kqrs.com. As I said, sponsored by Hoffman Weber Construction and, of course, Cragen's Resort on Gull Lake. It's going to be good.
Do you want to add on top of that? We want to hear from you this week so we can get the food and all that junk ready. So if you're coming up, even if you're doing the day pass thing and just going to hang out with us Friday, try and let us know this week if you could.
You sound like my mom. We want to know how much hot dish we're going to need, how many buns to bring, how many pies we need to bake.
The trauma that I've gone through as being the promotions director is really, we need to know how much Coors Light do we have to stock.
So, no, that's right. Now, Ryder,
how many bartenders do we need when we're doing the broadcast?
No, that's not you anymore. That's what you did last year. You were the person that took care of everything, running around, telling us, herding the cats, as it were. But now you're on the team. You don't have to give a rat's ass. You just show up and let it be.
All right.
Just come on, let people do for you.
Now, are you the kind of person whose eyes are usually bigger than their stomach? Be honest. We need to know. Be honest. All right, we got a couple callers locked in and loaded, ready to play a game. Tony, what are we doing today?
They got to earn their keep. Canadian or not. People, places, and things. Canadian or not.
I'm excited. You're excited. Wouldn't you like to be excited too? All right, we got two people ready to rock. Tony, who's contestant number one?
Number one is Jim from Waverly. We're going to go back and forth. Number two is Herb from Minneapolis.
All right, so we're going to start with Jim here. Jim, good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning.
Jim, give me your favorite band.
Got to go with Floyd.
That'll work. Give me your favorite team. Any sport.
Tough one, but got to be the Queens.
All right. Fair enough. We're gonna play a little Canadian or not. You're up first, Jim. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Jim. Very simple. Just say Canadian or not Canadian. Number one is Kelly Clarkson.
Canadian.
She is not. Sorry.
Where's she
Kelly
from?
Clarkson.
Texan. I'm gonna say Texas.
All right.
I could be wrong.
Lives in Montana now.
Okay, good to know. All right, Jim, sit tight really quick. Herb, good morning, sir. How are you?
Not bad yourself.
All good on this end. Give me your favorite band, Herb.
Pieces of a Dream.
Favorite team, any sport.
The Eagles.
The Eagles. Which Eagles?
Philadelphia.
Okay, fair enough. All right, we're playing Canadian or not, Herb. Good luck, sir.
Herb, rapper, entrepreneur, 50 Cent. Canadian or not?
Not.
Correct.
That is correct.
And Curtis James Jackson is from Queens, New York.
Fair enough. All right, back to Jim. Jim, here we go. Number two.
Jim, number two is Chef Gordon Ramsay. Canadian or not?
I will go with Canadian.
I'm sorry, he's from the UK.
All right.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, he's not too much of a dick to be from Canada, right?
Way too saucy.
I'm bombing.
All right, Jim. We're still in the game here. We're still alive. All right, let's go back to Herb. Herb, number two. Good luck.
Herb, number two is soft crooner Michael Bublé.
Canadian.
Correct. Wow.
Hey, Bublé.
Yes. Bublé.
Man. All right, Herb, 2 for 2. Well done. All right, Jim, let's get on the horse. Let's go, baby.
Jim, comedian, actor, entertainer, Martin Short, Canadian or not?
I'm going to go Canadian again.
Yes, he is.
100%.
Yes, sir.
He's a treasure.
He was born from a maple tree, wasn't he?
He certainly was.
So Canadian.
All right, Herb, you got a perfect score so far. Keep it up.
Herb, number three is Count Chocula.
What?
Not Canadian.
That is correct. He's, of course, a vampire and not real.
In the cereal box.
Yeah.
Very well done, Herb. That was such a... I almost talked myself into going, he must be. I didn't know.
That's the magic of the game.
Man. All right, Jim, you're on a hot streak. Let's go.
Jim, LA Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani, Canadian or not?
Who?
LA Dodger, Shohei Ohtani, Canadian or not?
Not.
He is not. He's from Oshu, Japan.
That's correct.
Yes.
Well done, Jim. All right, Herb.
Thank you.
Herb, Vikings linebacker Andrew Van Ginkel, Canadian or not?
Canadian.
I am sorry. He's from Rock Valley, Iowa.
What?
I'm not kidding you. What the? He was Canadian.
It's known as the moose jaw of the Midwest.
The name got me. The name got me.
Yeah.
All right, Jim. There's a crack. You've got an opening here. Herb's finally tripped up. Good luck to you, Jim. Let's do this.
Jim, Mr. Mike Ditka, Canadian or not?
Not Canadian.
Correct, he is not. He's from Carnegie, Pennsylvania, Mr. Z.
Mike Ditka right now is sipping coffee at home, and he's just in a bad mood. He goes, what the hell just happened?
Right.
Did someone just accuse me of being Canadian?
Oh, my God. If you were here, if you were in the metro area, he'd be coming here to kick your ass.
He would be. All right, Herb, back to you, sir.
Herb, comedic actor Dan Aykroyd.
Not Canadian.
I'm sorry, he is a Canadian.
Wow, he certainly is.
He's from Ottawa.
Yeah, the first SNL cast member to be he and Gilda Radner were both Canadian. All right, so we're both 3 for 5 right now. How many are we going here, Tony?
We have there's one more for each.
This is it, Jim.
Yep.
Final clue.
Jim, rock band Nickelback.
Oh, boy.
Canadian or not?
Not Canadian.
I'm sorry, they are Canadian.
Painfully Canadian.
Yes.
Also known as Crepadian. All right, Herb, the opening is there. If you get this one right, you're the winner.
Herb Molson Beer.
What? It's Canadian.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you don't have to be offended, Herb. We're all just trying to play a game here.
I'm a drinker.
Oh, you certainly are. Molson Beer clinches it. Herb, 4 for 6. You are the winner. Jim, 3 for 6. Solid effort. Not quite enough. So, Herb, you've got some preseason tickets. The Wild versus the dreaded Stars Sunday. Gentlemen, thank you both for playing.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
You got it.
A couple of seasons ago, I saw a kid walking around with a Norm Green Sucks t-shirt. You could tell it was new. It wasn't faded, wasn't old.
No.
And I pointed to the shirt, and his dad goes, "Yeah, it's new." I'm like, "They're still making them."
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's still painful.
I got here last year, and even I know Norm Green still sucks. Yeah, I mean, it's just how that goes. You know who doesn't suck? Scorpions.
Yeah.
Scorpions on this very show. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
Good morning. Fly like an eagle, Steve Miller. I still have Pavlovian flashbacks to a summer road trip to the beach. 12 hours each way. We had Fly Like an Eagle in the car. The 8-track.
Yeah.
We heard it 9 million times.
There's a lot of nuances per cut.
I tell you what, man, it's amazing the how deep you go on Fly Like an Eagle tracks. You know, by the time my mom is singing every word and humming the bass lines and adding her barbershop harmonies to Take the Money and Run, you know the trip's just gone on too far. That's how that goes. In a moment, we're going to be joined by Klaus Meine and Matthias Jabs of Scorpions, or I should say only Klaus Meine this morning is going to be with us. Apparently, Matthias is busy, but the Scorpions are kicking off next year. 60th anniversary Las Vegas residency in February. 60 years. I mean, we talk about the Stones and we talk about ZZ Top or say Aerosmith, all the bands with all these lauded, they're still Scorpions. 60 years. That's incredible to me.
Yeah, no, that is. It's sort of unbelievable. You know, being they only came onto my radar probably late 70s when I was just hitting my teen years. Picked up on the Scorps, and I just thought they were kind of a new band of the day. You could have convinced me they got together about the same time as Quiet Riot, but no, they've been at it for a while.
They had been going at it for quite a while, in fact. I believe No One Like You was 82. Yeah, and that's the first. That was my first awareness. So I was
probably mine then too.
Definitely late, but in Europe they had already been, obviously just cranking it up and making their name right there. But starting in Hanover, Germany, and I've often thought about 1965. Like, think about what was going on in the world, of music at that time, and what the German scene, I guess, was. Yeah. Because a lot of people back in England thought there was a German band from Hamburg called the Beatles when they returned. People were like, so there was definitely, and I want to ask Klaus about this. Like the history of rock music in Germany. What was the scene like? Because obviously the English bands were coming over, but I imagine Scorpions were hardly alone in the number of German kids who saw that and were like, oh man, how do I get on that? And think of what the obstacles I'm sure they probably faced. I mean, an American kid or an English kid thinks it's their birthright to get a guitar and go do it. I would just imagine there was a few more hurdles and hoops to jump through for a bunch of kids from Hanover, Germany, trying to break out and get a deal and get something going. Pretty amazing.
I'm going to have to do some diving. I want to hear that Scorpions circa 1960s. What were they doing? Obviously they weren't laying down heavy metal in the 1960s. It just wasn't around, hadn't developed, hadn't evolved yet.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of curious about what their sound was like back in the 1960s.
Tomorrow at this time, we're going to speak with Sam Ekstrom ahead of the Vikings. Who are they playing this weekend? Oh, that's right, the Packers. If you want to get Sam's thoughts, be with us at 8:30 tomorrow morning. Right now, let's get back to today. Klaus Meine is joining us on the KQ Talk and Text line. Klaus, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Steve. How are you doing?
I'm great, and I'm really great now that I'm speaking with you. We were just talking about the fact your 60th anniversary residency coming up in Vegas starts in February. First things first, congratulations. 6 years is hard for a band. 60 is damn near unimaginable.
Yeah, thank you. It really is. It's hard to believe.
Klaus, I was just saying, you guys have a pretty unique place in the story of rock and roll. Rock history is often told from either an American or a British perspective. Post-war Germany in the mid-'60s, I know nothing about the scene. Were there German rock and roll artists that you and your bandmates as kids were looking up to? Or was it the Beatles and Elvis and the standard, the same old guys?
Of course, it was Elvis. It was the early 60s, the Beatles, the Stones, the Who, all these great bands. They inspired us very much to pick up guitars, drums, and have a microphone and start singing your lungs out. And, it was this British invasion. It was such a strong inspiration, but who would have thought it would last our whole life, So, of course, there were many German bands around at the time who started at the same time, like Scorpions. And it was a couple of years later that German artists started singing in German, with German lyrics, German words. But we were, from the very early beginning, we wanted to sing in English because we wanted to take our music all over the world. And you can imagine there were a lot of people saying, "What?" When we said we go to America, of course.
Yeah.
But we always believed in ourselves and our talent. And early on, we went to France or Belgium or even to the UK, and we played places like the Marquee in London, And going out of Germany very early on, there was so much positive feedback for us that we went back home very strong and proud. And so we went to Japan, and in 1979 we made it to the U.S., and it was great. With every other year, with every other record, we became more and more part of the international rock family. And to play with bands like Aerosmith, Van Halen, AC/DC, we were thrown into this international competition, and we learned our lessons and played with the best bands around at the time. And Van Halen, the Ice Festival in '83, we were co-headlining with Van Halen in front of 300,000 crazy U.S. fans, and I guess there was something like a breakthrough in the U.S. And, we are very proud celebrating a 60th anniversary now, and to know we have so many loyal fans in the U.S.
Klaus Meine is with us on the KQ Morning Show. Everything you just said is really mind-blowing to me, Klaus, because, obviously you were the first German band to do all of those things. And I can only imagine the shadow you've cast on generations of German musicians since. You guys are, there's no comparison. There's not another German band that worldwide has accomplished anything close to that. I feel your pride, and it's really it's kind of overwhelming to think about, because you did have, like I said before, Americans and English kids almost thought it was their birthright probably in the 60s. You guys, you just did it all yourself without a roadmap. That's an incredible accomplishment.
Thank you. Well, yeah, and it was just by really enjoying that we had a chance to live our dream, You're a musician yourself, you know what I'm talking about. It's not easy. You can dream about the world and whatever you want to do, but it takes probably a little luck to meet the right people at the right time. And when I ran into Rudolf Schenker in the late 60s, I had the feeling I can trust him. He's the kind of guy, he's serious about it. It's not just bullshit, So he's serious about it. And to take this baby on the road and play, and without having a limit. There was no limit ever for the Scorpions, and that's why we went to all these places around the world, playing all these continents, going east to Russia after all the success we enjoyed in the United States. We went to the east and played all these countries on the other side of the globe, so we really enjoy being pioneers, and it's I'm grateful, very grateful to know that there are many bands, especially in America, that the young generation or the next generation after Scorpions who were very much inspired by our music. That's I think a huge compliment, and we're very grateful for that.
Scorpions coming home to Las Vegas. 60th anniversary is kicking off February 27th at Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino. Tickets go on sale this Saturday at Ticketmaster.com. You mentioned going to Russia, one of the first bands to do that. The first band to play 5 nights in a row, still in Soviet Union era, Leningrad at the time. After your first trip, the story goes, you returned, you wrote the song Wind of Change. Now, Scorpions is a rock band. You're known for great rock anthems, but it's Wind of Change that's probably worldwide the most iconic tune. And as far as I know, Klaus, the only song in rock history that's had the wonderful rumor attached for years that the CIA may have co-written it with you, which is one of the funniest things I've ever heard. Your song has infiltrated the entire universe when there's an entire podcast about maybe the CIA had a piece of it.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy when Patrick Renkeefe, the journalist from the New Yorker, came to see me in Germany and he confronted me with, "Hey, Klaus, you know about the CIA was writing Wind of Change. What you say?" I was cracking up laughing, because this is so crazy to think about that. And all I could answer was like, if that would be true, it would just prove the power of music, and what is more to say? We're very much inspired by playing in the Soviet Union, and especially the Moscow Music Peace Festival in '89. And it was, for a German band to go east was something very emotional, but to have both worlds, to play and sell out Madison Square Garden and play those big festivals like Rock in Rio and become really one of those major worldwide players was great. But to go east was very emotional for us because we grew up with our parents being in World War II, the post-war generation, and it had a much deeper meaning,
I can only imagine. Absolutely the case. Klaus Meine, I know you're a very busy man. Thank you so much for taking the time. It's a true honor to have you on the show. All the best with the Vegas residency.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
You got it.
Thank
we'll
you very
see you.
much.
Take care.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
The man wrote Wind of Change. It's an international, ginormous hit, but especially in Eastern Europe. And people always attribute it to, as the Soviet Union, as the Iron Curtain fell, that was a song that sort of captured the zeitgeist at the time. And Romania, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, all these countries, it was huge. And people were literally singing it in the streets for months on end in 91 and 92 and 93. And then this rumor sprang up, which I was just referencing in case you missed this. And there's an entire podcast. It's called Wind of Change. But this story was circling. It was in D.C. for years that the CIA had played a part in writing that song in an attempt to win the hearts and minds of Eastern Europeans. And then it turns into, maybe they didn't write it, but they certainly helped promote it. And they certainly wanted to make sure it was there. Well, it's all just nonsense, but it's a great story.
It is.
But in this podcast, the spoiler alert, it's great. This journalist, there was an article in New York Magazine all about it. Is this true?
I remember that.
And the guy finally goes and sits down, and Klaus Meine is basically like, what the hell are you talking about? I was sitting on a tour bus and I wrote it one night. He's got the whole story, and it's like, it's CIA. But it just speaks to the impact of that song and how it truly did corner the market for a while. And, social movements, and it was adopted by so many millions of people in Eastern Europe.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, here for a kid in the Midwest in the 1990s, I still hear that song. You hear the whistle, you hear that power ballad start, and it takes you right back to when all of that was happening.
Amazing to think, too, like he just said, post-war Britain, we all know that. We've seen the footage for years. Clapton, Beck, Page, the Beatles, all the kids, the Animals up in Newcastle, everybody. Post-war Britain, you see the footage and but imagine post-war Germany, a darker time, and with the world's scorn and the blame, and then the generations afterwards brought up carrying that shame. Very, very truly, I've got plenty of German friends. I've had long conversations about it. And then those kids discover rock and roll. What a carrot across the room. What a beacon rock and roll music must have been for those kids of that generation.
Yeah, no kidding.
And the one band that actually got out and made it worldwide, because they are. Scorpions is a band. You don't think of them as a German band. You think of them as a band.
Right.
And that's the ultimate proof of their success. It's an ultimate tribute. Like there are German bands, and then there's Scorpions. They're a world band. Just like Van Halen. You don't go Pasadena, or you just Van Halen. It's Iron Maiden.
Until you're at a show and Klaus starts to talk.
Well, then there's
like,
that.
What the hell is he talking about?
There is that.
Steve, when you were talking to him, were you tempted to slip into the accent?
Not once. Not for a second.
Oh,
No. That would be horrible. Because I have spoken with German people and done that, and then you feel like the biggest douchebag ever. All right, top 5 at 9. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. You're listening to the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zepp, Tony, and Ryder on 92 KQRS.
If your boyfriend or hubby spends more time at the gym than he spends with you, if his muscular pecs are bigger than your boobs, if his chiseled physique is creating pressure for you to look flawless, and his rock-hard abs are actually uncomfortable to lay on, then send him to Planet Fitless. At Planet Fitless, they have trainers that are actual overweight dads.
Hey, listen, fella, don't exert yourself so much.
They're always ready to help guys with hot bods get an upgrade to the more attractive body type, the dad bod.
Okay, now go hit the vending machine in the lobby. Got Cheetos, Pop-Tarts, Snickers, you know the drill. Let's do it.
Planet Fitless. Less pressure, more pleasure.
Looking soft and doughy, my man. High five.
Fitless. You heard it here, Planet Fitless. It's Tuesday morning. Good morning. Let's get right to it. Here's your top 5 at 9 on the KQ Morning Show. Speaking of Fitless, how about CrossFit? We've all heard of CrossFit gymnasiums. A woman in South Carolina, 25 years old, who's already in pretty good shape, she decided to do a CrossFit challenge called the Murph Challenge. Here's the Murph Challenge. You run 1 mile, you do 300 squats, 200 push-ups, 100 pull-ups, and then run another mile. So she did it. And then her biceps exploded.
All right, good.
Wow.
Oops.
We can finally discourage this type of behavior.
Woke up the next day. This is a 25-year-old named Jessica Johnson. Woke up the next day. Her arms were sore and swollen to the point where she could not straighten them out. Her friends were saying, we'll call you the Hulk now. Her arms were literally all swole, as they say. She's all swole up. Finally went to urgent care a few days later. Why? Because she had lost the feeling in her hands. They sent her to the ER because they recognized she was suffering from something called rhabdo, which is short for rhabdomyolysis. Your fibers in your muscles are so damaged, you overwork them to such an extent that the cells die, toxins get released into your blood, and it can cause liver damage, kidney damage, and it can kill you.
Wow.
Also, she was suffering, she had very dark urine. She was not dehydrated. She simply was toxin full. Jeez. She's going to be okay. Doctors were able to save her kidneys. They cut her arms open to reduce the swelling.
Well, but she's got a nice personality.
She certainly does.
A little power walking.
Take it easy. Take it easy. I mean, if you're not going to go on American Gladiators, just chill. Okay?
Yeah, just get a few steps in, maybe one less chili dog a week.
Man.
Crazy.
Number 4 on your top 5 at 9. Now there is one Kmart left in the United States. Kmart, a retail giant of our youth, down to its final store. A mini Kmart in Miami is all we have left. Now, in the U.S. Virgin Islands, there are a few, and there's a few in Guam.
Well, yeah, they make nice hurricane shelters, don't they?
That guy, they must.
Low profile, a lot of square feet,
Man.
not much left in there. No more blue light specials.
As of October 20th, there's only going to be that mini Kmart in Miami. There's still one in Bridgehampton, New York. That's out on Long Island, but that one's closing October 20th. That's it. Kmart is. I used to buy. I used to go in there and buy records. Flip through the record bin at Kmart.
Yeah.
Used to go in and buy literally everything under the sun: clothes, toothpaste, shoes.
Yeah.
Kmart. It's like anywhere. They had everything. And when I was a kid, we were in Kmart all the time.
Yeah, no, Kmart was the thing. That's what we had out there as well. Then you crossed the border over here into Minnesota.
Look out.
And it was Target country.
Go to a real store.
A real
Target.
That's right.
Hey, I'm not kidding. 1984, Nashville, Tennessee, walked into a Target for the first time and was like, oh my God.
Right.
I was astonished. My girlfriend at the time was like, I told you, it's so much better. It's way better than Kmart or Walmart or any of them. I was like, man, you ain't lying.
How the other half lives.
Damn straight. Number 3 on your top 5 at 9. Dave Mustaine of the band Megadeth. Never a guy known for his sense of humor.
But no.
He's a surly cuss.
Yeah,
Let's just call it what it is. He is apparently now beefing with legendary nicest guy in rock, Peter Frampton. How can anyone have a beef with Peter Frampton?
What?
It's incredible. Check this out. So Peter Frampton recently was on tour. He canceled a show in Richmond, Virginia. And he mentioned, somebody asked him what happened, and he said, well, I think it's Megadeth's fault. They played there a few days earlier, and they did a sound check, and that apparently somehow Megadeth caused structural damage to the venue.
Well, that's just bragging right there. I mean, structural.
That's
damage.
Frampton said that. That was something Frampton said. Megadeth heard about it and took it personally. They were very upset. They put out a statement saying, we never even did our sound check because our lighting rigger noticed there was damage to the venue's grid. So no, Peter Frampton, we didn't even do our sound check. The damage was already there, dude. They didn't even play their show. Frampton had the same thing a couple days later. Whatever this venue is, they got to get it straight. Mustaine himself, the quote was this: "It seems Frampton was misinformed about our show being canceled. That decision was based purely on safety. It's disappointing when someone you admire talks out of their ass about you."
God.
Dave Mustaine, who's been ass-talking for decades about other people. Frampton Frampton had to issue a statement apologizing, saying it was just a joke. Like, I heard Megadeth had a problem, so I just threw it out there. It's Peter Frampton. Let the guy can say whatever he wants.
And Dave Mustaine Googled joke.
Yeah.
What's that mean? Dave Mustaine, Peter Frampton, Thunderdome, 2 men go in, 1 man comes out.
Come on.
Let's go settle this, guys.
Dave Mustaine, word on the street is he's writing a song about it right now, and it sounds like this. Frampton! Asshole! Something like that. Number 2 on your top 5 at 9. The American Medical Association, the AMA, has just released the results of a new survey, and they have found that one of the most important secrets to a better life is pleasuring yourself at least 4 times a week. That's right. And I don't mean get a good sneeze. I don't mean keep your fiber intake where it needs to be. I'm not talking about an extra piece of cheesecake after dinner. No, people who get it on with themselves are less likely to be sick. They have more confidence about their own bodies. They're more likely to be employed. And they're more likely to climax when they are actually having sex with others.
Oh. When you say with others.
See?
Yeah.
25% of people fantasize about their significant other when doing so.
So you're supposed to pleasure yourself at least 4 times a week and have sex with others?
Apparently
Slow
so.
down. I don't want a bicep to explode.
God.
17%
17% of people polled said they fantasize about a person they actually know. Okay.
We made awkward eye contact right there.
For a little too long.
It's the memory bank. You know what I mean?
It's a compliment. Sure. It's complimentary.
You know, it's like, well, I always, somebody said to me one time, they said, well, who's your first girlfriend? And I was 10. And they said, what color were her eyes? And I was like, I could tell you a lot more about her, but they were brown. I had to think about it for a second. Right. 11% of people say they fantasize about a person they met once. Like just one time. There was that strangers passing in the night, and they've always wondered.
You met so quickly they didn't have a chance to screw it up.
10% of people say they think about celebrities when they please themselves. A celebrity.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I always start, there I am. I step out of the limo. The red carpet awaits. No, I don't know what that means. 9% of people say they, in fact, fantasize thinking about fictional characters when pleasing themselves.
I thought 100% of us were just looking at porn clips on our phone.
Yeah, you don't need the imagination anymore. It's all right there.
Thinking? Who needs to do any thinking?
Fictional characters.
You know, Betty Rubble was pretty hot.
Sure she was. Yeah, man.
Kind of a Marge Simpson guy myself.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no.
Can see that.
Pulling that blue hair.
Well, the oldest poll the first poll I remember being asked, Marianne or Ginger, you know, I was like, and I'm like 6 going, what do you mean? I think they're probably both really sweet.
Well, guess what? AI, they're both available.
They certainly are. Number 1 on your top 5 at 9 is going to wait one moment because I want to give a quick shout out to Bloomington, Minnesota.
Right. Bloomington. Headed down there. Wally's Roast Beef has moved location. Still on Penn Street. That's where Sid the Kid was born, down there in Penn Village. And Taylor and I are going to get together for lunch at Wally's.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. All right. There's Bloomington. Get ready. Here come the Zeps.
Here we come.
Number 1 on your top 5 at 9, Yellow. Also formerly known as Schwann's.
Yeah.
Most people remember Schwann's. The frozen food home delivery service, 72 years in and now out. They have announced they will be closing operations and permanently parking their iconic yellow delivery vehicles. Schwann's became, out of Marshall, Minnesota, a nationwide company delivering frozen meals to homes. But as I said earlier, I missed the whole Schwann's thing. You guys had to educate me on the significance of Schwann's. You said as a kid in South Dakota, man, that yellow truck was coming. People got excited. It was like the Wells Fargo wagon in the Music Man.
Absolutely.
Here it comes.
You know, you guys chased the ice cream trucks around, or the old ice cream carts around Minneapolis and St. Paul. We had the Schwann's guy that would come rolling in like once a month. I think they showed up, and it was a big deal. Dad would actually buy ice cream and frozen pizzas and this sort of thing. So yeah, no, we grew up with Schwann's, and sorry to see you go. I imagine a few folks probably losing a gig there as well, but been around for a long time. I wasn't into that whole yellow thing, but I'm an old curmudgeon. What are you going to do?
Yeah, no, it's tough. 176 actually workers being coming to an end. That's tough, man.
Sorry to hear that.
That is, very sorry to hear that. There is your top 5 at 9 for September the 24th.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.